I find this to be extremely hilarious. If you want to watch a racist snowflake melt, this is a good video. This guy, I am assuming, is the WillWit, due to the WillWit at the top. This is a PragerU video, so you know this is going to be rather amusing. But this guy in the vid melts down over the Boy Scouts wanting to show solidarity against racism by creating a new badge. He melts down over the fact that when he was in Boy Scouts, there was no racism, and that the Boy Scouts wasn't racist. Let's check this out and pretty much break it down.
Boy Scouts of America, don't you already have enough problems? You're dealing with bankruptcy, lawsuits, and as an Eagle Scout, what you're doing now with racism in this latest statement is terrible, and it goes totally against what the Boy Scouts of America is supposed to stand for. What's up, guys? This is WillWit with...
Okay, what the Boy Scouts are supposed to stand for? I don't see how being against racism goes against what the Boy Scouts are supposed to stand for, unless the Boy Scouts are supposed to stand for racism.
PragerU, and the Boy Scouts just put out this statement about condemning racism, how they stand with Black Lives Matter, and that they're putting out a new racial merit badge. I was in scouting from the time I was a Tiger Cub in first grade up until high school when I earned my Eagle Scout. My grandpa's been in scouting for 35 years, my brother was in it, and there was never a problem of racism within the Scouts. Okay, my troop back in Colorado had tons of black kids, tons of Hispanic kids, and there wasn't one kid there, ever, who complained about racism within the Scouts. My mentor in scouting was another black scout. He was older than me, he taught me how to play lacrosse, and he taught me a lot of things about how to become a man. That's what boy...
Okay, just because you, as a white person, didn't experience any racism within the Boy Scouts, doesn't mean that there was not any racism within the Boy Scouts. You personally would not have experienced it, being that you're a white person, but let's say there was no racism within the Boy Scouts, just because they want to support movements like Black Lives Matter that are against racism and looking for more rights and equal treatment towards black people and POCs, doesn't mean that they are saying they were racist.
Boy Scouts is all about, and there was never any racism. He never said that I was oppressing him because I'm white or anything like that. And there were lots of kids from all different backgrounds who got their Eagle Scout, and there was never a problem with racism. No one ever said, oh, black kids aren't getting their Eagle Scout because of racism from white people, and that's because black kids were getting their Eagle Scout. There was no racism. The Boy Scouts of America were equal opportunity for everyone. In the 1960s, young black men became Eagle Scouts to distinguish themselves because it gave them a leadership position within their communities. Scouting has always been something to have young men from any background grow up to be a successful man. It teaches you leadership, it teaches you teamwork, it teaches you tenacity, it teaches you all these amazing things, and nothing in the Scouts had ever had to do with racism. And in this statement, the Boy Scouts of America capitalized Black Lives Matter, BLM, which if they wouldn't have capitalized and they just said Black Lives Matter, it's like, yeah, of course, I agree. Who doesn't agree that Black Lives Matter? But you capitalize it, which means that you support the organization Black Lives Matter.
Okay, I don't understand what's the big difference between lowercase and capitalized. The Black Lives Matter is a movement, not an organization, and even if it was an organization, there is nothing wrong with supporting an organization that is looking to fight racism. This guy is just having a fit over nothing. He's showing, it's just, he's upset because the Boy Scouts wants to be against racism. That's pretty much all it is.
Okay? In the Scout Oath, you say, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. When you support an organization like Black Lives Matter, who is rioting and looting in the streets, you do not support your country. You are doing the opposite. And this...
You can't really say that. Because I mean, before people like the WillWit were saying that if you kneel during the anthem, you are against your country and blah blah blah. The thing is, these people like this guy just wants to use anything they can as ammunition against people looking to end the abuses by cops by saying, basically they're not protesting the right way, or that what they're doing is against the country or the United States or the ideas of the United States or whatever. But uh, what John F. Kennedy said, those who make peaceful protest impossible make riots inevitable, or something along the lines of, if you uh, if you make it impossible for people to peacefully protest, or ignore their peaceful protest, you're going to end up with people rioting because they're uh, the harm that is being done to them is being ignored. Uh, Martin Luther King Jr. Said, "A riot is the voice of a people unheard." So, um, Black Lives Matter has been going on since 2013, and with all these peaceful protests, with all the mockery from people like this going on, it is understandable as to why people want to start rioting. Um, every Pretty much every week, you can hear about a person getting killed by the cops, and no matter how much people beg and beg and beg, the government doesn't change. But you start rioting and destroying property, which is what this system cares most about, is property over people. You have some changes starting to be made. Colorado ended qualified immunity. Uh, Cops are being charged with crimes. People are looking to defund the police, and some places are doing that. So it seems like rioting at the moment is the only way to get a system that has been ignoring people for hundreds of years to actually pay attention.
Statement goes directly against the values of what the Boy Scouts of America was founded on. And now you have this merit badge, which you have to earn to become an Eagle Scout, which is basically the diversity badge. And so I don't know who's going to have to get this merit badge. Is it white people who are going to have to take this merit badge? Do the Black Scouts, do they have to also take this merit badge? I mean, this badge
Obviously is going to be for anybody who wants to become an Eagle Scout. They're going to learn it. This guy is going to probably freak out, and well, he already is trying to say that, oh, who's going to have to take it? Is it just going to be white people that's going to have to take it? And then he's probably going to try to say it's racist to make only white people um, get the badge. I had watched like up to a small portion, and then I was like, oh, dude, this guy's funny. I gotta talk about him.
is insulting. It's so insulting. When I was in Scouts, there was never any racism. I know I said it before, but seriously, there was never any racism. And now you're coming back and making white kids and other kids in Scouting who aren't even racist take this merit badge just so you can pander and virtue signal to the outside world. You're already doing horribly financially.
Okay, who cares if the kids aren't racist? Um, Making them aware of the racism that's going on in the community and in the nation is something that people need to be made aware of. Having them not know is worse off, because um, why prevent kids from actually knowing about the type of system that people live in, instead of having to be ignorant and blinded of the racism, and then eventually, when they're older, realize that the system they live in has been lying to them.
And this is their way of virtue signaling the Boy Scouts of America to make it seem like, oh, we're so woke, we're so progressive. What you're really doing is setting the Boy Scouts back. And then again, with this merit badge, you're teaching black kids in the Scouts that white people have a problem with black kids, and that black kids should have a problem with white kids. You have these impressionable teenagers and young people who are now in Scouting who are being taught that racism is the biggest issue. When
yeah, racism is a very big issue, and kids need to be taught about it at a young age instead of this guy. He still just he wants to whitewash America and make it seem like racism doesn't exist, so that the status quo can keep going, where the system that we live in is predicated on the subjugation of POCs, even if it's a hidden subjugation.
when before there was no issue at all. But now you are pitting these two people against each other. What you are doing, Boy Scouts of America, is genuinely horrible and disgusting. If this was a genuine statement and you said we condemn the murder of George Floyd and we want to do everything we can to help, I totally get that. But when you come on and start having these different standards now that you're implementing into Scouts, you are destroying what Scouts is about, because Scouts is not racist. The Boy Scouts of America were the greatest thing to me. I grew up without my dad in the picture, and without the Boy Scouts, I wouldn't be the man that I am today, teaching me how to be a man, how to be a leader. And now, due to this statement and all the other things that the Boy Scouts have done to set themselves back, I mean, you thought your membership was low in the Boy Scouts before? Look at how it's going to be after this. This whole thing just really blows my mind.
If people leave the Boy Scouts because they want to help raise awareness about racism in the system, well, those parents were shitty parents to begin with. These are the same type of people that was upset over the Boy Scouts being open about homosexuality, because, oh, this is not the traditional Boy Scouts that I grew up with, so it's wrong.
I mean, again, I'm an Eagle Scout, and this is incredibly disappointing to see, because the Scouts, when I was growing up, was the least racist organization that I had seen. And for them to come out and say this and support Black Lives Matter, the organization, it's just terrible. Virtue signaling, pandering at its best. It's a real shame to see what the Boy Scouts of America have become. But I still care about the Boy Scouts of America because of how good of an organization it was to me. And if you care about it and want people to know the actual truth of what's going on, share this video, comment your thoughts down below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
It's kind of surprising this is what PragerU is doing now. Prager, quote unquote, quote unquote Prager University, they want to call themselves. So much for a university rated class at the moment. Just a guy with a camera ranting about how bad it is to support Black Lives Matter.